Good morning. Today we will do exponents. So let's start with the basic exponent. So if I have 5 raised to the power of 3, you have to know that 5 is the base and 3 is the exponent. So 5 raised to the power of 3 means 5 times 5 times 5. Which is 125, right? You also can use the calculator. I just want you to understand that 5 raised to the power of 3 is not 5 times 3, okay, which is that the common mistake. We'll multiply the base to the number is raised to, okay? Zero exponent, okay? So zero exponent, any number raised to the power of 0 will be equal to 1. So 5 raised to the power of 0 will be 1. 10 raised to the power of 0 will be 1. Okay? So we have the example right here. X raised to the power of 0 is 1. 5 raised to the power of 0 is 1. 8 raised to the power of 0 is 1. So 1 time x raised to the power of 4 is still x raised to the power of 4. X raised to the power of 3 multiply y raised to the power of 0. So this is 1. So x raised to the power of 3 is still x raised to the power of 3. So it's 0 exponent. Okay. Negative exponent. Okay. So I want to introduce the star reference sheet. Have the part that you can apply and use for properties of exponent. So when we multiply the exponent, we have the formula. When we divide the exponent, we have the formula, so we can use it. So we will talk about negative exponent, okay? For negative exponent, are not simplified, okay? If you have 5 raised to the power of negative 2, okay? You cannot leave it like that. We have to simplify them by changing the sign of the exponent and use the reciprocal, which is you're gonna flip your fraction. Okay, so another way that's easier for you to understand is we are going to flip and negate. So you have to remember this term for me when we have negative exponent. So let's say 5 raised to the power of negative 2. We're going to flip it. So we're going to have 1 over 5. And we negate. So negative 2 will become positive 2. Okay? And then we simplify them. So 1 over 5 raised to the power of 2 or 5 squared, which is 25. So that is your answer. So we flip and negate. Okay? So let's try this one. We know x raised to the power of negative 2. We flip it, which is 1 over x, and negative become positive. Same thing right here. 5 raised to the power of negative 3. We flip it, and negative 3 will become positive 3. And we just did 5 raised to the power of 3 earlier. You can use your calculator. It will be 1 over 125. And we're going to leave it at the fraction. The one on the right side, negative 5 raised to the power of negative 3. So again, you're going to flip because negative 3. We're going to flip. And we are going to do the negate, which is 5 raised to the power of 3. And there's a negative in front of it. So we're going to carry it over. So your answer will be negative 1 over 125. Carry your negative. All right, and if there's a fraction, okay, and it's still a negative right here, so we still flip, which is x over 3 over 1, and we negate negative to be positive this time. So your answer will be x raised to the power of 3. All right. This is a good one. X times x raised to the power of negative 2 times y raised to the power of 3, 4 divided by 4 times z raised to the power of negative 4. Okay, so we have a negative exponent and negative exponent. And we also have a positive exponent. So if they are positive, we're going to leave it like that. We don't flip it. We don't do the negate thing because they are positive. So leave it like that. So this is 2. And there is a y raised to the power of 3. They are positive, so I just leave it alone, right? And there's a 4 at the denominator. So leave it at the 4. Okay, now x raised to the negative 2, we're going to flip and negate. So x raised to the power of negative 2 on the numerator, now it's going to be at the denominator. X raised to the power of 2, flip and negate. Z will go to the numerator, which is z raised to the power of 4. Flip and negate. Negative become positive. Now we're going to simplify our work. 2 to 4 will be 1/2. y3 z4 over x to the power of 2. And also you can delete this one, because 1 time a number is itself. So that's your answer. Okay. And make sure you know that it's also on your star sheet. Negative exponent is right here. We flip and we turn a negative to be a positive. All right. The importance of parentheses. Parentheses determine what exponent apply to. 3 raised to the power of 4, the exponent will be 4, and the base is 3. So that's why we take the base and we multiply it 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, and you got 81. And again, 3 raised to the power of 4 is not 12, right? Some people, they do 3 times 4 is 12. Make sure it's the base multiply. Base time, base time, base time, base. Next one is the one that we're focusing on, the parenthesis. We have the parenthesis of negative 3 raised to the power of 4. So the exponent will be 4. And the base is negative 3. So we have negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3, and you got 81. And the next one doesn't have the parenthesis, right? That means we have exponent is 4 and the base is 3. And there's a negative in front of that number. So that negative will be carried to the answer. So we multiply the base, we got 81, and we carry that negative to the answer. So you got negative 81. Okay? Add and subtract exponent. Okay? So now we're gonna have to simplify our work. We're going to add and subtract. We're going to multiply and divide exponent. And also we have exponent, 2 exponent. All right, when add or subtract, we're going to combine the like terms. Okay? No exponent change when add or subtract. Okay? Remember, combine the like term. So let's say we have x to the power of 3. And we have x to the power of 3. You can combine them, right? Add or subtract. But if there is x raised to the power of 2, you cannot combine x to the power of 3 to x raised to the power of 2. Okay? They are different. Okay. So the example say 9 times x raised to the power of 3 plus 3 raised to x power of 3 plus 2 times x raised to the power of 3. So they are x raised to the power of 3, and we can combine them, which is 9 plus 3 plus 2 is 14 x raised to the power of 3. All right, and then we have 4 times x raised to the power of 5 minus 2 x raised to the power of 5. So they are all power of 5. So we can combine the like term. 4 minus 2 is 2. So we have 2 times x raised to the power of 5. Next one. X raised to the power of 2. We have x, we have numbers, and we have another x raised to the power of 2. So these are the like terms. So we can combine them. 5 minus 3 is 2. X raised to the power of 2. 4x is by itself. There's no like terms, so we're going to rewrite it. 3 add 5 is 8. And that's all we can simplify, the like term together. Okay. Next will be multiply exponent. Okay. So we have the exponent. To multiply them, the term must have the same base. When multiply, the base stays the same, and you are adding the exponent. For multiply, we're going to add the exponent. Okay, so on the star sheet, we have product of power. We have a raised to the power of m times a raised to the power of n. So what we're going to do, we keep the base the same, is a, and we add the exponent. Okay, so here's the formula. All right, let's try. Okay, so 4x time, this is time, multiply, 3 raised to the power of 3 times x raised to the power of 4. Okay, so we multiply the number first, so 4 times 3 is 12. Okay, okay, so remember the base must be the same. So that's what x go with x, y go with y, z go with z. Okay, so we have x is the base, and then, oh, you have to remember one thing for me. X by itself mean x raised to the power of 1. Okay, y by itself mean y raised to the power of 1. So we're going to combine, add the exponent, So 1 plus 4 is 5. Does that make sense? All right, next one. These are all multiplication. Okay, when there's nothing between them, it is multiplication. And we're going to take care of things in order. We take it the number, x, and then y, and then z in alphabet. All right, let's take care of the number. 3 times 2 is 6. And then we move on to x. We have x7, x2, and x3. So we're going to add the exponent. 7, add 2, add 3. So 7 plus 2 is 9. 9 plus 3 is 12. Move on to y. y5 and y1. Y by itself means y raised to the power of 1. So 5 plus 1 is 6. Okay? Next one. x3. X to negative 5. Okay? So we combine the we add the exponent. The base is the same. X go with the x. 3 plus a negative 5 is negative 2. Y raised to the power of 2 and y raised to the power of 3 is y raised to the power of 5. Now we have to simplify because this is a negative exponent. We flip and negate. To remember, we have done that one earlier. Negative exponent, we are going to flip and negate. Okay, so let's review it. So y raised to the power of 5 is positive. We keep it like that. And we flip it, which is x raised to the power of negative 2 will be at the bottom, and negative become positive. All right, next one. Take care of the number first, and then x, and then y, and then z. So negative 2 is a number, 3 is a number, multiply, we got negative 6. Take care of the x, x3, x negative 4. So 3 plus a negative 4 is negative 1. And then y. Y negative 2, y negative 5. We're going to add them up. Negative 2 add 5 is positive 3. Z by itself, so z to negative 2. All right. Let's simplify this because we have negative exponent. Okay, negative 6 is a number, so we still keep it. Okay, You can't turn, or you can't flip and negate negative 6. You can't have 1 6, right? Negative 6 is negative 6. Y3, and then x will be at the denominator, become x to the power of 1, and times z to positive 2. Okay. All right, I am going to move on because we do multiply. So I'm going to take it the dividing first and then come back to power to power. Let's scroll down to the bottom of the page 2. To divide, the term must have the same base again. And when dividing, the base stay the same, and we're going to subtract the exponent when we divide. Okay, so here is the cheat sheet of the star reference sheet. Quotient means divide. So we have division, look like a fraction, and then we're going to subtract the exponent. The top subtract to the bottom, numerator subtract the denominator of the exponent. All right, so let's practice them. First, I'm going to simplify my number. 2 6 will be 1/3. X to the power of 7, x to the power of 5. So basically, you take 7 minus 5 will be x to the power of 2. You can say x raised to the power of 2 divided by 3, or 1/3 x raised to the power of 2. 12 to 3 is 4. Take care of the x first. So x to the 1, x to the 5. So we have x to negative 4, because 1 minus 5 is negative 4. Y4, Y2. So we have 4 minus 2 is 2. Z2 minus Z1 is Z1, which is Z. Simplify our word. This, the only one, will be at the denominator because negative, flip and negate. So we have 4 times y2 times z over x positive 4. 6 to 36 will be 1 6. X negative 5 and x 5. So we have the numerator subtract the denominator. So negative 5 subtract the positive 5 will have x to negative 10. Y by itself, so we rewrite it. Z1 minus to a negative 3, which is Z4. Okay, so make sure you know your integer rules. Okay, now simplify 1 over 6. This is negative, so that's gonna go to the bottom and go to the denominator. Y1 is just y, Z4. Now 1 times Z4 is Z4. Okay, so that's your answer. Last but not least, will be power to power. Okay, power to power. Let's say if I have 2 raised to the power of 3, okay, that's its power, right? But power to power means this whole thing will raise to another power, which is, let's say, raised to the power of 2, right? And then sometimes you can see these are raised to the power of 3 again, okay? So to be able to do that is called power of a power. So that means you're gonna multiply the exponent, right? M is another exponent, is one exponent. N is another exponent. To be able to do that, you multiply the exponent. Okay, so I like to put a dot in between that too. All right, this is handwriting, but when they type it, they only can write 2 raised to the power of 3. They put it in the parenthesis and they put the 2 right next to it. And they put the 3 right next to it. That's how they able to type. So they in a row. Okay, so when you see that, that means you're going to multiply the exponent. Okay, so let's say the example, multiply the exponent. X raised to the power of 5, and then we raise to the power of 6. is in a row, okay? We're going to multiply the exponent. 5 times 6, 30. So we have the answer, x raised to the power of 30. Okay? Okay, this one right here, we have 2 raised to the power of 4. And then we have x raised to the power of 3 raised to the power of 4. So that means we take 3 times 4. So I'm going to put a dot in between so I know that I'm multiply them, which is 3 times 4 is 12. So we have x to the power of 12. And also, 2 raised to the power of 4 is 16, okay? And then y, we take care of one at a time. 2 times 4 is 8, okay? All right, let's do the practice. 3 raised to the power of 5, which is, you're going to use your calculator, right? 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. It will be 243. And remember, 3 raised to the power of 5, not 3 times 5, because number, okay? So some people may write down 15, and that's going to be so sad. All right, x raised to the power of 3, and then 5. So I'm going to put the dot right there. So I know I'm going to multiply 3 to 5. So I got 15 for x. And then 2 to 5. Y 10, Z 4 to 5, I have Z 20. They are positive, so I'm good. Next one. So there's 2 parts, and I'm gonna have to take care of one at a time. There's no number, so I'm good to go. X raised to the power of 3 times 4 will be x 12. Y 2 times 4, 8. So part 1 is done. This one means multiply. This is negative. Negative 2 raised to the power of 2. Okay, make sure there you should put in the parenthesis and use the calculator. Okay, or you know that negative 2 times a negative 2 is positive 4. X1 times 2 will be x2. Y3 times 2, y6. Now they are multiplication, so we're gonna use multiply exponent to simplify your word, product of exponent. To multiply, you're gonna add the exponent, okay? So go back, okay? X go with x, so we have x squared and x 12. We will have x 14 because 12 plus 2 is 14. Number 4 is by itself, so we have 4 times x 14. Y 8 and 6, you add them as the exponent, you have 14 as well. Okay, next one, and then we're done. Next one, we have the exponent this time is negative. Okay, and remember we have to flip and negate them along the way. So 2, let's take care of the number. 2 raised to the power of negative 4. Okay, remember we're going to flip and negate 1 times 2 raised to the power of 4. Okay, and if you do that, the number by itself will be 1 to 16. 2 raised to the power of 4 is 16. All right, so we're done with the number. Now we're going to take care of the variable. We're going to multiply them because this is power to power. So x, negative 2 times a negative 4 is positive 8. Y, 3 times negative 4 will be a negative 12. Z1 times a negative 4 will be z negative 4. We're going to simplify your word. 1 over 16. X is a positive, so I'm going to leave it at the top. And then you can delete that 1 because x to the power of 8 times 1 is x raised to the power of 8. Y will be at the bottom. We flip and negate. Y 12, Z 4. Done. You can put the dot in between or you don't have to. All right, this one. There's a bracket. That means we have power to power to power. Okay? So there's two ways for you to do it. I'm going to show you both ways. First, you're going to do 3. We're going to take care of this part first. Okay? And then we raise to the power of 3 later. So let's say 3 raised to the power of 2 is 9. X raised to x squared, and then we square again, so we multiply them. So x 4. 2 times 2 is 4. 1 times 2 is 2, so we have y 2. All of that will be raised to the power of 3. So we're going to do 9 raised to the power of 3. Remember, it's not 9 times 3. 9 raised to the power of 3 is 729. 9 times 9 times 9. X raised to the power of 4 times 3 will be x 12. Y 2 times 3, 6. Okay, so that's your answer. That's positive, so we good. Another way for you to do it is power to power, we multiply them, right? So let's say 2, this is power to power, so we can multiply them first, which is 2 times 3 is 6. So everything right here raised to the power of 6. So 3 raised to the power of 6, you can put it on your calculator. You have 729. X raised to the power of 2 raised to the power of 6, so 2 times 6, which is 12. Y1 times 6 will be Y6. So they are the same answer. So you can do either way. Last but not least is the extra practice on your own. I have done dividing exponent already. Okay. So you can pause the video and try. And then you can compare the answer with mine to save your time, okay? All right, so here is my answer of the practice. Simplify the following expression, okay? The first 2 is easy. This one right here, kind of like challenge, okay? So make sure that you can divide first. So divide, okay? And then you do the exponent of -5, right? I divide first, and then I do exponent of -5. And I have 2/3 raised to the power of -5. You remember you flip and negate because they are negative, and you can have the number 3 raised to the power of 5 is 243. 2 raised to the power of 5 is 32. So that's why I have that fraction. Okay, and then you multiply them, power to power, and then you simplify your work, flip and negate if they are negative. This one is very hard, okay? You do the power first for the top, and also you do the power to power for the bottom, okay? So remember 4 raised to the power of 2 is 16. The bottom one is hard, that 6 raised to the power of -3. I do the math right here for you, which is 1 over 6 raised to the power of 3, 1 over 216. And then we have fraction, a number divided by a fraction. So I have it right here, which is, I'm going to do keep, change, flip. Keep the first fraction, first number, change the division to multiplication, and I flip my fraction, 1 over 216 to 216 over 1. Or since you have calculator, you can type the whole thing in your calculator, and you should got 3,456, right? And then you dividing your fraction and then simplify your work. If it's negative, you flip and negate at the end. All right, the video is quite long, so you can cut the part that you need to listen and fill in your note for today.